What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee and Headphones. My name is Caleb,
My name is Trevor.
and we are two brothers talking about brother things. Today, we are talking about the NBA playoffs and whatnot. Long time no Zoom, Trevor. How you been?
I've been good, bro. Just working my butt off.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm good, man. As you can tell, I've moved into my new apartment. Me and Nala Bear here, just be chilling. So it's been a
Nice.
crazy couple of weeks, but I think I'm mostly settled now, ready to get back into the grind of music and podcasting and all things technology.
Congratulations on the new place, bro.
Thank you.
I gotta tell you something. The other day I was at Harley's work and I was talking to this guy. He's like, "What you been up to?" I was like, "Oh, just working my butt off." And he's like, "You still got a lot left." It's like, dang, brother.
Dang, bro. No chill.
I know, he's like 55, 60 years old. Them
Yeah,
old
man.
heads, ruthless.
Yeah, bro. They didn't live up to their potential, so they made sure they tear everyone else down.
I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Oh man. Oh wow. Okay, well, listen, guys, we apologize for the lack of consistency recently, but as we just went over, life has been very busy for both of us, and we got to put the real life first, you know what I mean? So, having said that, we are back and we will hopefully be going back to our regular weekly postings. I know it's been like probably 2.5 months since we put weekly episodes out, but
A
we
while.
we're back. I mean, like we've done a few here and there sprinkled in, but it's been at least 3 weeks since our last one. So
It's playoff season, baby.
it's
So
playoff
we're here to
season.
stay.
We're here to stay, and we completely missed talking about the playing tournament. We completely missed the first round. I'm sure we will touch on that a little bit. I'm definitely going to do an episode Bulls specific sometime in the near future, maybe after the finals, to talk about the roller coaster season we had. But your team, Trevor, is still going and gunning for that championship, Denver Nuggets. Should we start with them?
Yeah, we can start with them. That's fine.
All right. Let's hear it. What do you got to say?
Am I just supposed to do a synopsis on how we've been playing?
You can do whatever the heck you want, man.
Okay. First off, we're gonna beat the Suns. We're already up to beat the T Wolves 4-1. Gave them a game because we felt bad. And Rudy Gobert needs to stop punching players. So
That was the old gentleman sweep, right? Win the first three, lose the fourth, take it
mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm. Um, I mean, yeah, it's been a great postseason so far. I love the way we're playing defense. That is not something you usually say as a Nuggets fan. But our defense in the postseason has been unbelievable. We won a game, one of our very few, where we didn't score 100 points. Our last game against the Suns, 97-87. Uh, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, Bruce Brown, KCP, everybody's stepping up. Everybody's playing well. Mike Malone's keeping who we traded for on the bench, and
Oh,
it's working
fire.
out.
Yeah.
Um, I went back to the stagger, Jokic, Jamal, and then take Jamal off before Jokic. And then when Jokic comes out, put Jamal in with that second unit. That's working really well. And yeah, I will say what I said at the beginning of the season, halfway through the season, and every podcast we've had, we're going to win the championship this year.
It's looking good. And you mentioned, yeah, Mike Malone, he's keeping Thomas Bryant on the bench. He's keeping all of your bigs on the bench, actually. Playing Jeff Green a little bit, but
Yes.
he's really running AG as the backup center right now. And it has worked out tremendously well so far in the playoffs. AG, I think he struggled a little bit shooting in the last game, but defensively, he was all over KD, him and MPJ. And you love
PJ,
to see MPJ step up his defense so much from the last time he was in the playoffs till now. It's like a different
night and day,
player. Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah. And you're not asking him, I mean, as a Nuggets fan, you're not asking him to lock down Kevin Durant, but just put in the effort and be there, be a body that he has to shoot over because they have roughly the same frame. And that's something that other teams in the West don't really have. You thought maybe if the Grizzlies got the matchup with them, Jaren Jackson could contend with KD a little bit, but other than that, like you have MPJ and Anthony Davis are kind of the best matchups for him based on the playoffs so far. And I want to talk about the person whose town I'm now living in, Jamal Murray. Is Bubble Murray back? He says it's healthy Murray, which I love. Now he
I agree
struggled
a
a
thousand
lot.
percent.
He struggled a lot shooting in the last game, but that's okay because Jokic had 39, 10, and 11 or something crazy. And you can
39,
afford,
13 and something.
yeah,
But
yeah. You can
um
afford to have them switch out a little bit in the playoffs right now, which is great to see if you're a Nuggets fan, I imagine.
Jamal has played very well this postseason, but he's played well a lot this season in general. I think
Yeah.
I want the Bubble Murray thing to go away because this is who he is as a healthy player. He is amazing. He just hasn't been healthy. And then confidence, I think, is the big thing. It has nothing to do with talent. And if you hear Mike Malone in post game conferences, press conferences, he'll say the same thing. As long as Jamal's confident, he's gonna be running. And he made some really big shots in the last game. Is the thing, and made the right plays.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually playing good defense. I mean, Jamal and Jokic, either one of them on any given night will give us 40, which is a beautiful thing. But KCP and Christian Brown are two of the big X factors in my opinion because they're playing great defense on really like
Devin
Hall of
Booker.
Fame people.
Yeah.
I mean, not locking down. Booker's been going off, but
But keeping him as much in check as you can.
and you don't see KD, Booker, and CP3 going off at the same
Right.
time. So I am thoroughly impressed and very happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we'll be
Yeah.
okay. Beat the Suns, and then we'll play the Warriors. So
How deep do you think the Sun series is going? Because you're up 2-0, you defend at home court, which is what you need to do. Chris Paul injured in the last game. That man is cursed in the playoffs.
Chris Paul sucks. So I'll be the only one to
I'm
say
adding that to the list.
Chris Paul as a player, good. Human being, terrible. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll go to 6.
Okay. I think that's realistic. You think the Suns will tie it up after their home stint, or what? Do you think a 3-1 lead is on the way?
I think they'll tie it up.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it goes Suns, Nuggets, Suns,
No.
right? No,
No,
that's
it's
game 5,
this.
6, and 7.
Yeah.
So it's Suns, Nuggets, Suns. Yeah, I
Nuggets.
think we'll win game
Yeah.
6 in Denver.
In Denver. That would be in
Mhm.
Phoenix.
No,
Yeah. Because
game
game 5 is
6.
in Denver.
Nuh-uh. That's
Game
what you
3 and
just told me.
4 is in Phoenix.
You
Game
just told
5
me
is
that
in Denver.
that was
And
wrong.
game 6 is in Phoenix. And game 7 is in Denver.
Nah, you're lying.
Bro, are you not the 1 seed?
Yeah.
Okay, then you had the first 2 home games. Then Phoenix had 2, right? That's 4. And then you go back to Denver. And then you go back to Phoenix. That's 6. And then you go back to Denver for game 7.
Oh, I was missing a game. Yeah, you're right. I thought we were already on game 4.
No, no. All right. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to say about the Nuggies? Or should we move on?
People should start respecting them. They're number 1 in the West for a reason.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot. I think recently I've been seeing more Nuggets respect than ever before, which makes sense considering they're up 2-0 on a lot of people's favorites to come out of the West. So moving forward, let's stay in the West actually with this matchup of ages that we have gotten time and time again in the finals. Now it's like the last chapter. It feels like the last chapter, at least both these players are going to play into their 40s probably, but Curry
Yeah.
versus Braun, the Warriors versus the Lakers. Lakers took game 1 last night, which I called. They didn't win by 30, but 5 is close. What do you
My
think
man.
so far? Steph Curry just had the statistically the best game seven of all time, 50 points, his career high in the playoffs. How do you feel about this Warriors and Lakers series?
I'm disappointed that De'Aaron Fox didn't make it out of the first
Uh,
round, to
yeah,
be
I think
honest.
the injury played a part in that. And then also, when push comes to shove in those 50-50 series, you got to go with whatever team has the best
Playing
player,
with
as
the
we just
broken
saw.
finger.
Yeah.
Actually, what really happened is Sabonis dropped the ball.
Yeah, Sabonis. What, did Sabonis drop the ball or did Kevon Looney turn into a monster?
Sabonis got destroyed by Kevon Looney game in and game out.
Yeah.
Um, Kevon Looney, okay, uh, he is a good player,
Hmm.
but he played freaking amazing. But um, I don't know if the Nuggets can't win this year. I want the Warriors to win, and I want people to start having legitimate conversations as to why we don't speak. I mean, people like Steph Curry's the best shooter. This is a great dynasty, blah blah blah. But it's like obvious, like LeBron versus Jordan is the GOAT debate. Steph wins this year; he has more rings.
Yep. And less tries.
Steph has a higher winning percentage. Steph leads arguably the best team. Um, if the Nuggets don't win, I want the Warriors to win, and I want people to start putting Steph in the GOAT debate. And I'm not like
Okay.
a Steph stan by any means. We've talked about this. I don't not like him, but I don't like worship the
You're not a
ground he walks
fanboy.
on.
Yeah.
But I do think that as much respect as Steph Curry's name has, he deserves a little bit more if he wins this series.
Do you think it's because the way he goes about it versus like a LeBron? Like
100%.
Curry,
LeBron
he's
calls
very
himself the
humble.
king.
Yeah.
LeBron is very adamant, very open, very marketable, and Steph is marketable too. I
Hmm.
mean, he's a light skin from the Bay. Come on now, but it's like LeBron is very much so not humble, and I don't think he should be. I mean, granted, the man's really good. I get it, but Steph is quieter, more humble. Um, yeah, I think that has a lot to
Yeah.
do with it.
Steph lets his game do the talking a lot. And he's emotional on the court. He'll
Mm-hmm.
celebrate, he's so fun to watch, but you don't see Curry like LeBron after the Cleveland championship said, that's when I knew I was the best player ever. And like to LeBron's credit, he's obviously top three or whatever of all time. But Curry, you never hear him say stuff like that ever. I think the closest you've ever heard Curry say something is that he was the proud daddy of the Boston Celtics after last year's finals, which is great. But I agree. I think Curry will definitely gain more respect, especially because outside of like Kevon Looney, the supporting cast hasn't been amazing in the playoffs so far. Clay has struggled. Wiggins has played well, but not like as good as last year. Draymond has his
Jordan
ups and downs. Jordan
Jordan
Poole
Poole has been
has,
doing Jordan Poole things.
yeah,
He shot
yeah.
a 35-foot three with 10 seconds left last night to lose the
That was
game.
a weird end of the game. They had two timeouts, and
But
everybody on the court wants Curry taking that shot, unless you're in the Lakers uniform. So
but
that
I
was
get it.
weird.
Jordan Poole has taken that role before. He's made those shots before. That
Exactly.
is a Warriors type shot as a whole, as the
Yeah.
team. If
And
he
you
would have
look
made
at
it, we would have been like, "Yep, that's Jordan Poole," you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And you look at a team like the Bucks who just lost from not being able to get a shot off, or you look at like the Celtics Sixers
Grayson
game,
Allen to
Grayson
Shanghai,
Allen,
baby.
or you look at the Celtics Sixers game and nobody wanted to shoot the ball. They ended up turning it over on the last possession. So I understand like you'd rather take a shot than none at all, but in the perfect world, you would realize there's 10 seconds and you would pass the ball to Curry. But hey, it's going to be a good series either way. I ultimately have the Warriors in seven. I think that a Warriors Nuggets conference finals would be so fun, but that's my prediction. What do you got?
By far the hardest series for me to call. Um, I would say the Warriors in seven, but I'm not. I don't. The Lakers looked really good last night.
Anthony
AD
Davis.
AD
Yeah.
looked good for once,
For
but
as much as we give him crap, And as much as we make fun of AD for not staying healthy or playing soft at times, he's looked amazing in the playoffs so far, and especially last night, 30 and 23. You cannot ask for more.
If they can if they can do a better job on AD, continue to make LeBron shoot threes, I think the Warriors win. But the Lakers also had an interesting defensive scheme. It was almost like a box and two,
Yeah,
where they were playing man on like Steph and Clay or
yeah.
Steph and Jordan Poole or Jordan Poole and Clay or whatever. And then they had LeBron and AD just sitting in the middle. Um, so it seemed to work pretty well. Live by the three, die by the three. Um, a big thing is the Warriors need to get to the line. I think the Lakers shot almost 30 free throws. Warriors
Yeah.
shot 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you say, and everyone says live by the three, die by the three, but they made over 40% of their threes last night. They struggled inside the paint, and a lot of that is credit to Anthony Davis. He finished with 4 blocks, but he had about 15 intimidation blocks, where people got in and were too scared to either shoot it or uh, took a bad rush shot. Even Curry had a floater blocked for what felt like the first time ever. So I think that was a big point of them struggling, and probably a big point of emphasis from Darvin Ham and the Lakers staff.
It's hard for me to say. I'm gonna be pretty confident the series goes to 7. I want the Warriors to win, so let's go Warriors in 7.
Okay, sounds good to me. Well, before we move on, I gotta say, can you tell anything different with my hair?
Not really.
Okay, that's good. Well, I was shaving my face in the shower this morning without a mirror, and I accidentally shaved like 4 inches of my hair off right here. So I don't know. I'm gonna like just see if anyone can notice. If not, then cool. If they do, maybe I'll tie it back. I want like a completely different cut at some point in the near future. So hey, listeners, drop what style I should get in the comments. But I just wanted to see if you could peep that.
No, and I may not be the most vigilant person in the world, so
It's
everybody
also
needs.
hard over Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, moving on to the East then. I think we have to start with the Heat, man.
Woo! Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets.
I'll
Jimmy
let you start.
became, yeah, for sure. Jimmy became the second player in NBA history or excuse me, let me get the stat right. Jimmy, throughout the first 6 games of the playoffs, scored the second most points of all time behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the most points in like 47 years or something crazy. Uh, that man gets buckets. I know he averages like 23 throughout the regular season, but come playoff time, he's putting up 30 pieces, 40 pieces, and a 56 piece this year. Jimmy, man, he is the true definition of a playoff player. Even if he disagrees with that, he steps his game up tremendously, and I love how he really leads the Heat in a different kind of way. He's kind of like Jordan-esque, KG-esque in the way that he leads by example on the defensive end and the offensive end when he needs to. And you can see it's working out tremendously for them so far. Was it also a gentleman's sweep of the Bucks? They won 4-1, and Jimmy locked down Chris Middleton in that series. He made Jrue Holiday look like a terrible defender. He made Jrue Holiday look like JJ Redick out there. It was crazy, man. Like I've watched a lot of Jimmy Butler throughout my lifetime. The last 10 years, he's been my favorite player, definitely. But this is a level I've never seen before. And I think it's contagious. You see, since Tyler Hero went out, Duncan Robinson is back and he's hitting threes and he's playing well and he's able to stay on the court. Kyle Lowry's putting in that vintage Kyle Lowry defense with charges and blocks and, doing the little things. Bam hasn't quite looked maybe like bubble Bam, but he's looked
Doesn't matter.
good. It
Yeah,
doesn't
Kevin
matter.
Love making like 60% of his threes.
It's crazy, man. Now they lost a tough one last night, but
They did.
they they go back to Miami. There was no Jimmy in that game. They go
They were
back to
down
Miami.
10 though, with like a minute left.
They were up six with 6:40 left or something. And Scott Foster has some questionable calls that went in the Knicks' favor. But having said that, no Jimmy, and they kept it close. I think that's a good sign if you're a Heat fan. And they go back to Miami tied 1-1. They stole one game on the road. And
We should
MSG.
start a petition to get Scott Foster fired.
I think Chris Paul already started that petition.
Well, Chris Paul good for something at least. Scott Foster is awful.
A lot of them are awful.
They need to do an investigation by a third party, not somebody that they hire.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did last time when the gambling happened. It was all internal. Those refs are still gambling on games, guys. I don't know if the NBA knows that and doesn't care. But it's quite obvious with some of these calls. It's not like, oh, we missed a call, my bad. It's like these are game-changing calls. Never calling a travel or a walk or double dribble all game, and then 30 seconds left, you're gonna call one. Yeah. Stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
And it's not even just like money on the game. Sometimes it's just personal. Like they had a vendetta against Vucevic all season because last year he flipped them off and they got their little feelings hurt. So no player was called for travels all game. Vucevic would get like 3 calls. It's tough. Obviously, I watch more Bulls games than most people, but I see that all the time. Let's get back to this series, though. Where do you see this going? Do you see the Heat winning, the Knicks winning? Julius Randle looked great last night when he came back. RJ Barrett looked great last night. What do you think?
It's going to be hard for anybody to convince me that Jimmy Butler can be stopped as long as he has this mentality. Sure. That team could be down 20, and he does not give a F. My man is going to continue to run. I love Jimmy Butler. I love watching him play. It's so inspiring. There's so much passion behind his game. Yeah. It's one of those things where if you're rooting for him and you want him to win, it's great. But if he's on the opposite team, he's going to be the person that annoys you the freaking most. I know I don't want to watch him play the Nuggets, but yeah, I think they beat the Knicks. I think they're better than the Knicks. Jalen Brunson is amazing. Yeah. Isaiah Hartenstein, the G League MVP, ex-Denver Nugget, has been playing really good with his minutes. He was actually big for him last night. Julius Randle. I mean, the Knicks have pieces for sure.
Yeah. Josh
Hart. Josh Hart for sure. But Josh Hart plays with the same intensity as Jimmy Butler, except with half the talent. So I think it'll be fine. As long as Gabe Vincent, K Love, and all those guys continue to like just hop on that Jimmy train and roll, I think I'm gonna say the Heat in 6.
I like that. I think that's fair. I see this one going 6 or 7. I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say Heat in 7. I hate that we've chose the same team so far for all of these.
Well, it changed because you had the Bucks winning the championship.
I had the Heat winning
or going to the championship. No, you didn't, Caleb. I have the text. But I had the Bucks obviously beating the Heat, I think, in like 6 games. And then I had the Knicks beating the Cavs, but I had the Bucks continuing till they played the Celtics.
Yeah.
But now it's like the Heat versus the Knicks. I still have the Heat winning. And then I'm probably gonna have the Heat versus. Well, we'll get into it.
Next series, Okay, yeah. I'm gonna say Heat in 7. I would love to see I would love to see Game 7 Jimmy in Madison Square Garden. That would be so fun.
Game 7 Hemi. Get it right.
If he's healthy, if he comes back for Game 3, then potentially the series could be over sooner. But I'm so happy that it's tied 1-1. Jimmy versus Tibbs, like it's great. This is 90s basketball, as a lot of the old heads
used to love Tibbs, man. That dude has made the most questionable calls as a coach I've ever seen in my life.
He has, but he gave Jimmy the career he has, and
Jimmy gave Jimmy the
that's
career he
true. But
has, but
Tibbs
yes,
really gave him a chance.
no love.
Yeah. Shout out Nala. She
Keeps
heard
like
her.
poking her head
She
up.
she heard a car. I'm right next to the parking lot. So, all right. Moving on to our last series in the second round, Celtics Sixers. The Sixers took game one with a vintage James Harden performance, if you want to call it that. The MVP of the league is he was out for game one. He may be back for game two. We're not sure yet. What do you think, Trevor? Like game one, walk us through what you saw.
Uh, they played really well without Joel Embiid. Um, I don't know what it is with the Celtics. I feel like they're going to be a team that year after year is like right here, but just can't get past. Going to be very similar to like some of the teams we see, like KD and Harden or KD and Russ, or like some of those teams where they have
The
all the
D Rose
pieces, they have
Bulls.
good players, but they're just not going to make it. Initially, I had the Celtics and Nuggets playing in the finals, uh, but I would like to redirect. I'm going to go Sixers win. Um, for a couple of reasons. One, I think the Sixers are pretty cohesive right now, and them winning without Joel Embiid was huge.
Yeah.
Second, F Boston. If you're not from Boston, you probably don't like Boston teams. If you're from Boston, that's your entire life and persona. I
Shout
don't
out to
like
the
Boston.
Bruins, by the way, who just Maple Leafed harder than any Maple Leaf team ever has. That was crazy.
After 100 years, not really, but
Feels
uh,
like it.
finally got out of the first round.
Yes. I think
Congratulations.
it was 14 years to be
So
exact.
I placed a $10 bet at the beginning of the season. It was like a championship. It was the Maple Leafs to win and the Nuggets to win.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I just went with teams where I've lived or family has lived.
Wow.
Uh, but anyway, yeah, I'd say the Sixers. I'm gonna say it's not as close as people think it'll be. I'm gonna go Sixers and 5.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So is this assuming Embiid comes back for game two and plays the rest of the
It
series?
is. It
Okay.
is. If Embiid
That's fair.
doesn't come back, Sixers and 7.
Yeah. Previously, like the younger Embiid, Al Horford was the Embiid stopper. But the last, like, I would say since they played together in Philly the last 3 years, Embiid has low key destroyed him in every matchup. And the last 3 years, obviously, Embiid's been super good. He's been runner up MVP 2 years now, the MVP.
Congratulations, Embiid.
Yes. I think him and Jokic are 1A, 1B right now. I would say Giannis has lost that top spot from the last playoff run. But anyway, I think this is going to be a very entertaining series. Game one was awesome. I loved every second of it. You had, besides James Harden, you had different players on the Sixers who would give you like a solid stretch. I don't think anyone else had like a complete game, but you had like 5 or 6 minutes of Tobias Harris doing his thing. You had D'Anthony Melton in the first half hitting 5 threes. He didn't hit any in the second, but he kept them around. Every time Boston went on like an 8-2 run, a 10-2 run, you had Harden and Melton, hitting threes and keeping you in the game. Tyrese Maxey had a really solid run at the end of the game. He didn't shoot great overall, and he struggled a lot in the first half, but he closed it out whenever he needed to. So I think as great as the Sixers have been, without Embiid, the Celtics have the two best players on the court. And Tatum had like what 38, 39, and that goes overshadowed because they lost. Jaylen Brown had a great first half, only took 3 shots on the second half. I think that's on Joe Mazzulla more than anyone. That was weird. I'd rather see him shooting than Marcus Smart if I'm Boston. But I think the Celtics do unlock it here in game two, especially being home. And I see this series going seven. I definitely haven't lost hope. The Celtics haven't really impressed me by any means so far in the playoffs. They beat the Hawks in six, um, where maybe before you say that was a sweep, and then losing game one at home was tough. They had some really questionable defensive schemes. I think I talked to you about PJ Tucker didn't take a shot the whole night. And then the last possession, or like one of the last possessions that Harden three, they elected not to double team when PJ Tucker was the one that set the screen. You got to cheat off of that guy. He hasn't taken a shot the whole night. Force him to take the
He's
biggest
had a
shot.
rough shooting year as a whole, too.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously he does other things and he's great in his role. But with no Embiid, how are you not going to force him to take at least one shot? He played 38 minutes. That was really weird, really questionable scheme. But having said that, I am still going to roll with the Celtics. I think Tatum is better than Harden right now. Not in game one. Harden was great, but he had a tough series against the Nets. So if the coaching staff in Boston kind of steps it up a little bit, I see Boston winning in seven. We'll see what happens when Embiid comes back, but either way, great series. I think this is the best second round overall in a long time. I saw a stat that this was the first year that every single seed 1 through 8 was represented in the second round, which is really cool. And I think really telling of where basketball is right now. All the parity in the league right now is great after the Warriors and Cavs ran it for half a decade.
Yeah, I mean, and you have on almost every team besides the Knicks players that we've been watching for years that have been great for years. Mm-hmm. You have MVPs, champions, scoring leaders, like everybody in this second round. I mean, KD and Jokic, LeBron and Steph, Joel, and then you have, who are they playing?
Tatum.
Boston. Yeah, Joel and Tatum, yeah. And then you have Harden and Jaylen Brown. I mean, these are amazing players that we're watching.
Perennial all-stars, at least. Like you said, MVPs in that conversation as well.
Hall of Famers, really.
Hall of Famers, absolutely.
I mean, this is a great year for basketball. The whole season has been fun. Nuggets have ran the West for 4 months, and they're going to continue to win all the way to the championship. So go Nuggets.
Let's go. Okay, so real quick before we get off here, what's your predictions for the finals? Is it well, it's still Nuggets, obviously. Who do you have coming out of the East?
Can I say the winner of the Sixers Celtics series?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
The winners of the Sixers in 5.
I do.
If Sixers Nuggets matchup would be awesome. Like that would be so fun.
Yeah, and I had the Celtics Nuggets originally at the start of the playoffs, but I don't know, something about the Sixers, man. I think it'll be awesome. And I may even get to go to a game, so that'd be cool.
That'd be great. Yeah. I'm gonna say the Heat Nuggets. I think that would be incredible. Like seeing Jimmy play the way that Jimmy's been playing, I've seen it before, and that's when they went to the finals. So I would be dumb not to choose the Heat going to the finals. I know they don't have Bubble Dragic or whatever, but the rest of the team is picking up and carrying their weight. So that's all you need if you're Jimmy, and if he keeps getting buckets like this.
Let's say the Sixers win. It is going to be Jimmy versus Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris. Yeah, man. So I know you're not about to choose Tobias Harris over him.
I could see anything happening out of the East, except the Knicks winning.
You have Nuggets and what in the finals?
Nuggets in 7
against any of those 3 teams.
It's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna say Heat in 7 against the Nuggets. I can't say it enough times. I'm not gonna bet against Jimmy Butler. It's as simple as that. As great as the Nuggets are, AG is great, but I think Jimmy low-key torches him every time they get matched up. So can't really defend Jimmy.
Can't really defend Nikola Jokic. So
no, that's true. Bam is a good option though if you have to choose anyone to try. Having said that though, I think we'll call it here. We went pretty long, but it's been a while. So thank y'all for sticking with us and being patient. Trevor, anything you'd like to say to the people?
Go Nuggets. That's
Go
it.
Nuggets. Go Jimmy Buckets. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.